Have you heard her laugh? That is the laugh of a crazy person. That is the laugh of a crazy. It's the laugh of a lunatic.
In many ways, Donald Trump is an unserious man.
We're effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies.
Here's a 78-year-old billionaire who has not stopped whining about his problems, this weird obsession with crowd sizes.
Former President Donald Trump versus Vice President Kamala Harris. Republican versus Democrat. Man versus woman. It's a battle of the sexes, or is it?
All elections are masculinity contests. It's just we often don't recognize it because it's two men.
Because in our country's nearly 250-year history, we've only known male presidents.
We actually define leadership traits as being masculine traits. We're talking about agentic behavior, someone who's going to get stuff done, someone who's aggressive.
As candidates and political strategists have zeroed in on this fact, we see the masculinity contest on full display along the campaign trail.
He talked about being manly, his hand size and things like this, right?
Are they small hands?
Using kind of brute force and strength, saying she doesn't have the presidential look, right? Donald Trump was really leaning into the fact that his masculinity, his manhood, was the primary credential.
Female candidates, on the other hand, have a distinct challenge.
Female candidates have to be masculine enough to be a leader, but they can't be too masculine because then you'd be non-conforming. So female candidates have to somehow be both masculine and feminine at the same time. So they have to run for office, backwards in high heels.
The electability bias that women, and particularly women of color, have faced in U.S. politics across levels of office, right, is especially strong at the presidential level. And what that bias is a presumption that the country writ large is not ready to elect a woman.
Something we saw play out in 2016 when former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton ran with the "I'm with her" slogan, and Trump went on gender-based attacks.
What we want to do is to replenish the Social Security Trust Fund.
But in the nearly 10 years since, we've seen a shift, a realignment.
In 2016, there were a lot of sexist male Democrats, and they did not like Hillary Clinton. They moved over to Bernie Sanders, and a lot of those Bernie bros from 2016 are now hardcore Trump supporters.
According to a New York Times Siena College poll out this month, the race could have the largest gender gap since exit polls have been taken. Voters in the survey also think that Trump is a stronger leader, while Harris is found to be more fun. One key difference from 2016 is that Harris entered the race much later in the campaign, skipping primaries and experiencing less so-called electability bias.
It's especially harmful at that primary stage, because during the primary, folks are doing calculations of, I have to choose the candidate who's most likely to win in November. Donors are doing calculations. Who's the most viable candidate against the Republican nominee?
Perhaps as a result, we see the use of gender playing a very understated role in the Harris campaign. This, as Casino says, Trump is making inroads with groups who value traditional masculinity traits.
So young Black and Hispanic men are moving over into the Trump campaign because he's saying, I'm going to fix this. I'm going to give you a way forward where you can meet the demands of masculinity.
Both Dittmar and Casino say voters don't turn out to the polls based on gender alone.
Scholars have done studies of what motivates your vote on Election Day. It is not gender and it is not race. In other words, you're motivated almost entirely by party.
In the end, whether we come from Venus or from Mars doesn't really matter. We all end up at the ballot box. Bree Driscoll, Spectrum News.
Thank you for watching our YouTube channel. Let Spectrum News be your resource for balanced, in-depth political coverage, and click the subscribe button right here. You can also download our app or watch us on TV to learn more about the candidates, where they stand on the issues, and more. We'll see you then.